Okay, there have been some happenings going on in Congress today. What was it today? Was it yesterday? It was yesterday. Yesterday morning. Let's see. Let me ask. I'm just kind of curious. How many of you remember? You baby, sad Trump, sad Trump. Does sad Trump want to get on Twitter? Yeah, you remember that? Remember that shit? Now, I did a video on that. And honestly, in the video, I'm gonna go ahead and clarify my position. Honestly, I can't. I should have rewatched the video beforehand, but hindsight's 2020. I can't remember if I covered the various scenarios that I saw coming out of that whole situation. But here's the thing. This whole Obama tap my phones thing was colossally stupid to do. It might have been a diversion or a cover to get people to look some other direction, but still, it was extremely stupid. I mean, there were so many other things that could have been done that would have drawn media attention away from other things, you know? I mean, hell, he could have walked out onto the White House balcony with his robe open or something. I don't know. Even that, honestly, would possibly have been less embarrassing than what this has the potential to be. And the reason behind that is that statement, it basically, those claims had potentially three outcomes. Like, three things could happen as a result of this. And two of them are really bad. One is, I mean, I don't think it's going to give him too many brownie points, but at least it wouldn't be disastrous. So, let's take it from the top. Scenario 1, the good one. President Obama, in a like Nixon-esque taping scandal thing, was in fact illegally tapping then candidate Trump's campaign headquarters. So basically, if it had turned out to be exactly as the Cheeto in charge, the head comb-over, or the comb-over in chief, and you get your opinions, leave a comment. If it had turned out to be exactly how he claimed, then yeah, he probably would have been, for the most part, vindicated, and everything would have been fine. And that's about it. That is the only situation in which this doesn't end badly for this moron. So let me go over to the other two scenarios. Scenario 2, the bad one, is that President Obama or the federal government had nothing to do with any illegal wiretaps. Nothing ever happened. It's complete horse shit. And Trump's a moron. Okay, well, the reason this is, of course, bad is because in addition to all the other shit that's going on and issues that Trump's administration are currently having, this would basically be adding, falsely accusing a pretty well-liked former president of a felony to the pile. And, for Christ's sake, he did it on fucking Twitter. Tweeting is not dignified, okay? There's no dignified presidential way to even say the word tweet. Stop tweeting, okay? If you have something important to share with the American people, call a fucking press conference. But I digress. So that's the bad one, because I mean, I'm not well versed enough in law to know. I mean, I guess you could do like maybe a libel lawsuit. Like, I don't know if there's really any real repercussions for that, like, other than just looking like a total ass. Which, I mean, honestly, Trump's got that pretty much on lock already. Now there's scenario number 3, the worst one. And honestly, this is why I said that, this was an extremely stupid idea to begin with. But the worst case scenario is if Trump was actually correct, but it was done legally. So, scenario number 3, the worst one, is that President Obama / federal government, FBI, Department of Justice, whatever, were legally surveilling the Trump campaign. Now, if that happened, then it basically means that not only was the FBI or Justice Department, government, law enforcement, whatever, investigating the Trump campaign for criminal activity, but that they had actually found enough evidence, because you can't just say, I want to wiretap someone, at least unless it's a FISA court thing. But you can't just say, I want to tap the presidential campaign headquarters in the middle of a fucking election and just have it signed off on. They actually have to have some evidence to begin with before they can go to a judge. So basically, in this scenario where they were actually legally wiretapping him or surveilling his campaign headquarters, that would mean that not only were they investigating, but they had actually found enough evidence to take to a federal judge who... Just a second, stand by. I totally forgot to turn the fans on my computer down. Sorry about that. I thought the damn lawnmower was back. Anyway, so basically that would mean not only was he in fact under a legitimate investigation, but that they had enough evidence of, said criminal activity that they were able to successfully convince a judge to grant a warrant for surveillance. Which, again, fucking presidential candidate in the middle of a damn election, that's a tall order. You'd have to have some fucking evidence. Now, there has been, now we're all caught up, there's been a bit of activity on this front. And, it's not great for Trump. Because honestly, it's starting to look like we've got scenario number 3 going on. So for that, let me change the picture here. Get off the screen. You can go. Okay. On Monday morning, the FBI Director James Comey testified before Congress. Now, in his testimony, Director Comey stated that, in fact, the FBI was conducting an investigation into the possibility of Russian involvement in the 2016 election and any links between the Trump campaign officials and the Russian government, and whether or not there was any coordination between the Trump campaign and officials of the Russian government. Comey also stated that the investigation was classified and still ongoing, and he could not comment on what they were doing or whose conduct they were examining. So, not quite scenario 3 yet, but see, that's what I mean. That sucks. For the administration, that's lousy. They're gonna have to really start tap dancing and try to get around this. God help them. Because basically, if he had just kept his freaking mouth shut, no one would have been the wiser. Until of course the FBI finished their investigation, and indictments were potentially handed out, but no one would know. See, that's the thing. It's like now, because he opened his fucking mouth and blabbed on Twitter of all places. Seriously, I'll put a link in the description for the video of Comey testifying. Honestly, that look on his face is 100% accurate when he's asked to comment on tweets. again, maybe it's just me, but really, that is not to me. That's not a presidential form of communication, a form of communicating with the country. You don't do that for serious things. You hold a press conference. Why? Because you can. Because you're the fucking president. And because if you woke up at 2:30 in the morning and said, hey, I want to do a press conference, the reporters and press would drag their ass over there and do the fucking press conference. But now we are spending time, taxpayer dollars, and energy convening congressional hearings over his goddamn tweets. Also, too, convening a press conference would give him that vital few minutes of pause for him to consider, well, honestly, for his aides to consider, and then, I don't know, maybe duct tape his mouth and stick him in a closet, as to whether or not going out and saying these claims would be political fucking suicide. Which they very well may end up being, because honestly, I mean, is this a smoking gun? Is this I can't do the... There you go. Like, is that like, oh my god, is this that kind of moment? No. Because they haven't said anything about, like, if they've found anything or if there's any proof. He could come out of this someday with absolutely no problems. Like, no connection whatsoever to the Russian government. But now the country's got to wonder what that situation is and what's going on there. See, at the very least, if he kept his friggin' trap shut and hadn't flown off the handle at the first thing he saw coming out of fucking Breitbart or something about this, they could have... No one would have been the wiser until, at very least, until the FBI had concluded the investigation and found out whether or not there was anything actually going on. But now, since the FBI is investigating criminal activity involving Trump and his campaign, we're not going to know. All we know is that. And I'm just saying, the idea, the concept that you are... And see, that was the problem with Hillary, too, I think was a problem. And they tried to deflect, say, oh, it was a security review, and I believe Comey actually came out and said, no, the FBI doesn't do security reviews. That's not a thing. We do investigations. It's an investigation. It's kind of similar to that. Just having that stink on you. Because personally, I'm not under FBI investigation that I know of. You're most likely not under FBI investigation, unless, of course, somehow, some way, Donald Trump actually watches this, in which case, disregard that last comment. But it's not a good thing. All right, it doesn't help you in the public eye to be under investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, by the G-men, the people who do this kind of shit. Like we at the FBI do not have a sense of humor we're aware of, sir. Men in Black, first one. But anyway, yeah, this is not good. And it's just one of those things. Like, again, if he had nothing to worry about, if he wasn't actually... Because now, even if the FBI finally comes back eventually, concludes an investigation, and says, yeah, they didn't really have any... Trump himself, at least, didn't have any ties to Russia or whatever the case may be, there's still the fact that he was essentially being investigated by the FBI for potential, I don't know, treason. And that's a problem. That's the kind of thing that hangs with you, especially in the age of YouTube. As Clinton found out real fucking quick when she started opening her mouth and talking about things. And her views on things. That's a whole other story for a whole other video, but still. So yeah. I mean, that's basically it. Just kind of give you an update on that whole scenario and how... Yeah, my God, like... Dude, shut the fuck up. Just bite your tongue. And like he's surprised he doesn't get it. Like, it's the fucking president. You don't have to tweet some outrage over an article. You could read the article and then maybe call up the person who wrote it, or get some aides, or the Justice Department, or someone else. Ask around and be like, "Hey, are you investigating me? Hey, what's this? Go fact check this for me, Mr. Aide person." But oh no, 4 a.m. on Twitter. I swear that's one of those things, like, they're gonna have to like take his fucking phone away and replace it with like one of those like kids' toys like filled with candy that looks like a cell phone. Just swap it while he's like taking a nap or something. Just like swap the two out in his coat pocket. I'm sure he won't notice for at least a couple weeks, and they'll be doing everyone in the administration a big favor. Or don't do it and just let the entertainment continue. Oh boy. But anyway, that's all I got for this one. Relevant links will be in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever. And I'll see you on the next one.